football bet. But other than that, we ain't nothing, just good old boys. Good old boys, we're all the same. Ain't no way we'll ever change.
Hey, good morning. Welcome to the Wade and Carter Show.
Good morning.
I'm the Wade. He's the Carter. It's a great Monday of Thanksgiving week. School's out.
Great to be here in the South Texas TV studio, powered by the VCS companies, and thankful to have you folks listening in.
Absolutely.
I'd like to welcome those of you that were listening to the Bill Posey program. Apparently, Bill over there doing a tutorial on the most efficient way to rob a liquor store. I kept hearing about the SIG P226. I heard about the Glock 9. I heard about the when in a stressful situation, get the revolver. I don't know what he's talking about.
Only problem with a revolver, 6 shots and then you're done.
Well,
they ain't reloading that thing very quick.
You know, that shows you something. Back in the day, back in the Old West, you know, a guy probably didn't ever need more than 3 because all you had was 6. Well, now you got 15. People are spraying around all over the whole neighborhood.
Absolutely. Wade and Carter weather brought to you by the fine folks at Deerlam Hayfeed Ranch Services. Stop on by for all you need for critters and other things this year.
67 degrees in Victoria right now, heading to a high today of 79.
Fog building a little bit, not like Friday, but we're just a little foggy.
Maybe a little humid. Yeah. If you're sneaking up on 80 and foggy.
Going to be cool for Thanksgiving, though. We're going to look to a high of only in the upper 50s.
That's nice.
On Thanksgiving. Starting tomorrow, 63 for the high, and lows the next couple days in the 40s.
It should be cool.
Yeah,
you should be able to.
You should have to put on a sweatshirt to hang the Christmas lights after Thanksgiving, and that's what you're going to have to do.
Absolutely.
Tammy Keeling, good morning. Daniel Wade White checking in. Dottie Bitterly, Jarrett McCrugan, Scott Snow, Carrie Bump, Diane Tippett, Rena Scherer, Marvin Mickish, Patricia Nagel, Kendra Douglas, Stephen Kidder, Scott Tomko. Good morning, everybody. We're glad you're with us this morning as we get rolling on this Monday of Thanksgiving week.
I decided to back that off one notch because I look somewhat like a catfish.
It seems like there might be a deal for the release of some of the 240 hostages still being held captive. I'm not convinced that many of them are still alive.
Well, not to mention they said yesterday they had video of Hamas shoving these people around in the hallways of a hospital. But all that was reported yesterday was how that the Israelis had somehow injured people by shooting near a hospital.
Yeah.
You know, it's the Jews that are, I don't know when that became such a thing. I mean, I get it. You don't fire into a hospital. I get that.
Well, my understanding is they strategically went into the hospital and cleared it, didn't they?
There you go.
Yeah, it wasn't like they just went in guns a-blazing like they were John McClane clearing the Nakatomi Plaza.
I got to ask you, too, there were 31 premature babies. Isn't that a lot of preemies? In one little, because I don't know, maybe all this stress threw women into labor, no kidding, but 31?
Well, when your governing bodies have kept you in poverty and you probably have very little in the way of prenatal care.
True story. Yeah,
Probably
that makes
not.
sense.
Yeah.
Yep, you're making sense.
Well, because nobody else is. The media won't report on the fact that the top 3 Hamas leaders have $11 billion of net worth and that hundreds of millions of dollars in foreign aid to the Palestinian people has never gotten there.
But that lack of health care is free. It's free health care. There's just none there.
There's just none there, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No. So, Steve Kidder, good morning. I mean, why mess with facts? Why would facts get in the way of a good propaganda narrative?
Good point.
Lisa Poole, H.R. Mallory, Jordan Glass, David Glass, Christina Wise. I tell you what, if this keeps up, Hamas is already winning the propaganda war. That's evident by the protests on campus in this country, the protests in our nation's capital, in which they've gotten more violent than anything that happened on January 6th.
No doubt.
But that was an insurrection. These are just mostly peaceful protests.
Mostly peaceful protests.
So, I don't know. It's the world's crazy. Now you got the Houthis. They're going around trying to
Where's
pirate.
the blowfish?
Well, they're trying to pirate Iranian ships in the Red Sea. And who are the Houthis? Or Houthi, I guess. I'm not exactly sure on the pronunciation. Don't really care if I offend them because they're a bunch of jackals anyway, so who cares?
Okay.
Right? Honestly.
So I'm with you. I'm following you.
But they're pirating, and they're going to target ships that have Israeli crews, Israeli-owned, flying an Israeli flag, or Israeli-owned but not flying an Israeli flag. So they don't care. And Iran backs these guys. They're the Hezbollah. They're Hamas. They're backed by Iran. They're trying to pull Israel into another front to weaken them. And the world just goes, okay, yeah, Israel's the bad guys here.
See, that's when I wish the U.S. would go out there and just, let the F-15 go by and go, just sink that ship that's messing with.
Well, Israel's Air Force should. They have a bunch of our planes. They should. Anybody that's flying around there, they should just strafe them.
Yeah.
Send some sort of missile and just blow them out of the water.
Steve Kidder says we can watch 44,000 hours of insurrection footage this weekend.
Yep.
I think Tucker Carlson has all of it.
And I think it's been released publicly. Tucker, I think, had it first. But
yeah,
we're
the Horns beat this weekend.
The Horns beat this weekend.
I honestly cannot remember.
Iowa State.
Yeah, there you go. Aggies beat Abilene Christian.
Barely.
Yeah, but no.
38-10.
How much?
38-10, I think.
That's not close.
No, I know. Steve Kidder asked, do you think the Dolphins make the Houthis cry?
Right.
Hey, they only want to be with you. Steve, the Houthis only want to be with you. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be watching any of that stuff this weekend. Maybe in the build-up, but what's your favorite food and thing? And you guys can chime in here too. What's your favorite dish served at Thanksgiving?
Well, I'm on a new one right now. Dawn made an amazing. She calls it a sweet potato souffle. Mashed up sweet potatoes with butter and sugar in them. Really good. That was a favorite. I love the dressing. That's my favorite thing. And believe it or not, I like the ham. But I like ham at Thanksgiving more than I like turkey.
Yeah,
Turkey's dry. I mean, okay, check that. I'm not a great turkey chef, so sometimes my turkey is a little dry.
Want some tips?
Right, of course.
You take butter and you stick it under the skin, between the skin and the meat, when you bake it.
Like just shove a stick under there, or a little pat of butter?
Strategically placed.
There you go.
Meat thermometers have been the greatest invention for turkeys ever.
Once it gets to what, 145?
I don't remember. It's set on my meat thermometer, and so. But I have to go a little longer because of the stuffing inside the bird. But I would say probably, and I like stuffing or dressing sandwiches the next day, like bread with more bread. I mean, how can you go wrong?
How's it go for for lack of a battery, the thermometer was lost. For lack of a thermometer, the turkey was lost.
The turkey gets dry.
Right.
HR likes the turkey. James Kurth likes the pie. I'm going to try something a little different this year with my pecan pie. I'm going to try a browned butter pecan pie.
Really?
Yes, really. But I'll make one regular just in case it doesn't turn out. So I'll do two.
I got one more favorite thing too. My mother makes, she makes my mother's deviled eggs.
Yep.
You don't like those?
No. If they're not scrambled, I can't eat them.
Well, the guts are scrambled. I mean, the protein in Canadian, the protein.
The protein.
The Canadians call it oregano.
We do not. The British do.
Right. Sheriff Louderback checking in. BJ Nelson.
Matt Boucher says turkey in a roaster stuffed with butter and lemons won't be dry. Fabulous. The lemons kind of throw me off a little bit.
You like does it give it a tangy flavor?
I would think it would. I don't know. I've never tried it, but I stuffed my bird with a traditional stuffing.
So if I read Matt Burche, Matt Boucher verbatim. Turkey in a roaster stuffed with butter and lemons won't be dry. Fabulous. I'm.
He hit send too quickly.
Just left a hanging I'm there.
James Kerr says keep it covered until it's time to brown it. See, and I don't do that.
You leave the lid off?
And then put it on towards the end. I put foil on it towards the end to cover up the legs. Typically.
I think in the roaster, it kind of browns on its own. The key for me in the roaster, you don't put it in there dry. You have a little liquid in the bottom. But if you get too much liquid, then the next thing you know, it's encroaching on the bottom of the bird, and the bottom of the bird gets mushy.
Oh, I've never had that issue.
Good, because I don't want to have that issue.
Christina Wise says butterscotch meringue pie. Kelly Farami says Germans serve sweet rice. Oh my gosh, tastes like dessert, but it's a side dish. A perk of marrying into Travis's family. Is that kind of like rice pudding? I'm just curious. Cheryl makes an awesome kind of rice pudding that's Norwegian. It's just
Christina Wise
cinnamon and sugar.
Butterscotch meringue pie.
Yeah. Frank Mejia likes refried beans.
Nice, Frank. Go Yankees.
Yep.
Frank.
Charo beans every time over the refrieds.
Oh, what do we do with Frank?
Cheryl makes a really good jellied salad, too, that has like cream cheese and whipping cream on it. It's really good.
Well, I mean, can we just all agree that if I could take a Nike basketball shoe, and if I put cream cheese and whipped cream all over it, I mean, you'd sleep with it if nothing else.
With the right sides.
Right.
That Nike basketball is an old Chuck Taylor could become the centerpiece of
the canvas
Thanksgiving,
Chuck.
and it wouldn't matter. Eggnog and brandy, if only that was a dish. I like it with rum better than brandy.
You just gave me a flashback. Bill Posey, come join us for a second,
Lisa
sir.
Poole, Parmesan green beans with artichokes. I'm not a big green bean casserole fan. I don't know.
Pull up Posey here.
There we go.
Going back to your days, how many were you deployed over Thanksgivings in the past?
Yes, yeah.
Was there always at least a little bit of downtime where you could?
Well, depended on your shift or whatever, but we would typically have downtime on Sundays in any training cycle where instead of working 12 hours, we'd only work 10 hours. So, but there was always a feast on Christmas and Thanksgiving.
I mean, Thanksgiving
always a big deal.
Nothing quite like getting hopped up on pills and going out and killing bad guys on Thanksgiving, right? Just kind of the life of a Navy SEAL. Hey, what are you going to do for Thanksgiving? You want to eat? No, let's go kill some bad guys.
No, and then they would a lot of times bring entertainment in. I mean, they'd bring, that was, especially in my first war, that Hollywood entertainment.
Were you in charge of setting up the pole?
He's talking about Korea, folks.
No, not Korea. Vietnam. But, I mean, that was really, it really lifted your spirits and say, why am I wallowing in the mud here? You know, and you'd have turkey and the dancing girls then and said, yeah, now I know why.
I got it. Yeah.
So that's good.
How good are those Thanksgiving MREs that they served you?
No, they serve a hot dish. Even,
oh, yeah?
Let's see, we were out in the field the day before Thanksgiving, and they would kick us out a meal every other day, a hot meal.
Really?
Right, and it'd be like a box lunch. Well, the day before Thanksgiving, they kicked us out turkey and whatever.
Very nice.
They're very thoughtful.
No, that's nice.
Very thoughtful. Yeah, very good.
What do you make of the 5 soldiers that died in a helicopter crash off of Cyprus? Not much has been made of this, but it makes me think there's more to this than meets the eye, because knowing the history of Cyprus and how Turkey and Greece have fought over this island, and we're not big fans of Turkey at the moment, even though they're a NATO ally. What do you think? Something more than a training crash?
Yeah, but did you see who the aircraft was assigned to? The 160th. So the 160th is a SEAL Team air guy. I mean, the top SEAL Team 6 Delta Force Air Force.
I did not see that.
Yeah, they're the studly dudes. I mean, those guys really know what they were doing, and they were doing something probably extraordinary, and they went down.
Maybe got shot down?
No, I would think that they're practicing for Israel, but that's just my own thought. Okay. But I mean,
so whenever we lost some key SEAL Team 6 guys.
And the aircraft. Well, you don't know if it's Delta or who it is. But, I mean, when you see the 160th, you got to know something's going on.
There you go.
I have not seen anything that. Wow.
Yeah.
But
Who
yeah,
did you
so-
have on your show this morning?
Cully Stolas.
Okay.
And he's a gun instructor and has a website and sells guns here. Really a great guy. And you know the thing, before I was at a store the other day, and they had this poster that I didn't know. I called Cully, and asked him what it meant. And it's real important that you have a LTC, because you go into one of these stores and it could be a felony, right? Or in a parking lot of a school. And
Having a weapon with you.
yeah.
Sure.
So you ought to have him on the show here.
We
He
will.
was right
Scott
here.
Tomko asked if the turkey was dry that they served you on.
No, it was really
Back in the
good.
deal.
No, they
You know-
they went out of their way.
We just heard you. I told when we welcomed your listeners into our program this morning, I said that for those of you that were listening to Bill Posey's How to Rob a Liquor Store 101, I like to use a revolver. If it's a tight situation, I was like, I don't know what he's talking about, but he's killing people in there. I'm
Saturday night specials work the best.
That's
You can
the best.
conceal them and they
You're-
come out real quick. They fit your hand
like,
nicely.
in and out. You might only get $50
I,
cash.
I
but
set it up
it's
with a hair trigger.
unbelievable. Go in first, shoot the ceiling, and they'll pretty much listen to you after that. Unbelievable, Bill. Well, we appreciate you.
Yeah.
We always appreciate your service, and I tell people all the time, my buddy Bill Posey's 70 plus, and he's got one more war left in him.
I do, brother.
We
I
appreciate
volunteered. I volunteered for Samaritan's Purse here this last week, and I want to go either to Israel or to Israel or Ukraine.
Okay.
And do the relief work. I
with
can't.
Franklin Graham.
Yeah, at 77, I'm not young studly dudes like
Sure.
you guys.
Yeah,
and-
you can't be expected to perform
yeah,
like
but
me and
at least
Ash.
I could drive a truck or drive a forklift or something.
Well,
something.
what he
Or-
doesn't tell you, the Samaritan's Purse that he volunteers with,
Yeah.
that has a concealed carry in that Samaritan's
Right.
Purse.
Samaritan scabbard. Yeah, he's going in hot.
Yeah.
But thank God for those people. Huh?
Amen.
Thank God for those people. Christians helping Orthodox, helping the Jewish people, helping the Muslim. Thank God
Absolutely.
for those people.
Amen.
Huh? Hey, see
We
you guys later.
appreciate you, brother. Have a good week.
Thank you,
Hey,
Bill. Appreciate
Tell
it.
Barbara happy Thanksgiving. We'll see you soon.
You here all week? All right, good. Johnny Houghton says 160th SOAR, Special Operations Aviation Regiment is
Yep.
where that was. So
David Braga says, what an amazing man Bill Posey is. Not only a great military person, but also an amazing teacher to both of his girls. So that's awesome.
James Kerr says my oldest did that in Romania and Hungary last Christmas season.
Yep.
So awesome.
She wasn't packing a M16, though.
No, she wasn't.
Folks, Allen's Wrecker Service, 578-6300. If you need,
Remember Friday morning at Ben Jordan
Oh.
and the Houston Highway, there was a car turned over
I don't know how this
on the Ben
happens.
Jordan side, not in the intersection. The median didn't play a role
It's almost
in
like
this.
a Caleb Shaw award. It's just an SUV, and it was just upside down,
Yep.
resting on its windshield and hood. Allen's Wrecker Service on
They
the
were
scene.
in the wings. Yep.
That's who does it. They'll flip that over, get it back up on top, make sure nobody's hurt. That's what they do. The VCS companies, we mentioned them as powering our show. You can now go in and get the new iPhone 15 right now. iPads, accessories. Every teenager
Stocking
you've
stuffers.
got would love to have another charger.
And a longer cord.
Yeah, and guess what? If you go by the AT&T version, it's a nice gift. I mean, it's $25.
Yeah.
It's a nice gift.
Makes a nice stocking stuffer. for
Chesney
loved ones
Furniture
on
Company
your
for
list.
over 100 years downtown, 80 plus in their current location. Bobby Leon and his family showing you just always do better at Chesnick. We say Chesnick and Love, make your house a home. Get by Chesnick today. And then Veracruz is just the best Mexican food in town, period. It's a done deal. That's what it is. Saw Lee and Ida this weekend. They were doing great.
Oh, they're going to be doing great today, too.
Yep.
Because
They're going to be closed on Thursday, open again on Friday. So there you have it.
And why are they doing better today?
Yeah.
Lee
Well,
and Ida.
Cowboys.
Cowboys
Cowboys.
rolled.
James Kerr says his daughter doesn't want anything to do with guns, unlike her daddy. Thank you for your service too, James Kurth. We're going to have James Kurth come in here pretty quick and talk about, what's he talking about?
Legion stuff.
Legion.
Yeah, I think he's going to be in this week. So Cowboys rolled.
No problems.
33-10, I think was the final over
Yep.
Carolina, if I'm not mistaken. Should be a good Monday night game tonight, Chiefs and Eagles.
I just don't
NKC.
know who's motivated. You know, the Chiefs are 4-1 at home. They're 7-2 overall. The Eagles are 8-1.
Well, they got a little redemption
Is it
from last year's.
Super Bowl?
Yeah, maybe. No, who won that? KC, right? Eagles. I don't remember now. I've slept since then.
That's how much it matters.
Yeah.
We just don't remember.
Wasn't the Cowboys? I really don't care.
Who won the Super Bowl last year?
That's a good. Somebody knows.
Wasn't the
Somebody
Eagles.
knows.
Eagles did win the Super Bowl.
Frank Mejia says he was packing refried beans in Iraq and dropping bombs.
Right?
Yeah, I bet you were dropping bombs.
Somebody tell us who won the Super Bowl last year. We don't recall. It's got to be the Chiefs.
So,
there you go.
Winner. There it is. Yeah,
Kansas
Chiefs.
City
That's
Chiefs.
right. They beat the Eagles.
Ooh,
38-35.
38-35.
Yeah, there we go. So we don't.
So
we don't
which
need to
team's
check
gotten better? I got to feel like the Eagles have gotten better since last
seems like
year.
they have. Yeah. Cowboys rolled. Texans got a win as well. Texans beat the Cardinals 21-16.
And that was with Kyler Murray was back for the
Yep.
Cardinals. So,
Texans are 6-4, so they've won all the games that they can win according to my predictions.
which means we're wrong.
They're going to go. They're going to go 0-7 down the stretch.
The Texans are 4-1 at home. They're playing really well.
Yeah.
C.J. Stroud been the difference maker. I think he's a lock for a freshman for Rookie of the Year. Just a lock. Who else is even close?
Nobody. I agree completely. Yeah, let's see. Let's move up and see who what we've got on the schedule. Big busy day on Thursday. Always 3 games. Cowboys and almost called them the Redskins. Commanders.
Classic football. Classic old school football.
Yeah. Green Bay and Detroit to kick it off at 11:30, which is always
Now, when
this
I was
might
a
be the
kid-
year that I want to see Detroit play because they're actually playing pretty good football.
Yeah. Did they win yesterday?
Good question. I don't know. They might have had the day off actually.
No, I don't think so. I think they played. I could be wrong, but I think they played. The let's look.
Oh yeah, they beat the Bears. The Bears.
The Bears.
31-26.
Yeah, last second play, I think, to beat the Bears. But when I was a kid, am I right? There was a time we played the Eagles on Thanksgiving because I remember they had that running back, number 26. What was his name?
Wilbur Montgomery.
C. But we also used to play when Greg Landry was there and Mel somebody. They had a receiver that was really good.
Mike Quick.
No, Mel Gray. Was that?
That was Detroit.
That's right. We used to play against Detroit on Thanksgiving as well.
Well, there used to be only like one game on Thanksgiving.
It was Dallas.
Detroit. Then Dallas became a team that played on Thanksgiving, or maybe there were 2 games. There wasn't a night game. What the heck is this?
I don't know. You did something.
No, I didn't do nothing.
You have to just close that.
Yeah,
there you go.
They're closed. But yeah, Detroit's fun team to watch right now. Jared Goff's playing. I mean, short-term gain. The Rams win that trade because Matt Stafford took him to the Super Bowl that next year, right?
Yep.
But where are the Rams now? And Detroit's looking like
The turlet.
they could be a AFC or NFC contender this year, and in the next 2 to 5 could be winning Super Bowls.
Are they? How much of the NFL do you feel is NFL generated marketing? Is Travis Kelce this week's Gronkowski, and is Patrick Mahomes this week's Tom Brady? From a marketing standpoint,
I don't know if it's this week's, but I think maybe this generation's.
generation's such a long time. It just
Not
seems
when the average NFL career is only 4 years.
true. True.
Tight ends seem to have a shorter career than running backs have the shortest career. Good quarterbacks seem to last. Average quarterbacks get retreaded through the league constantly.
And there's people that are like, well, that's why they have to make so much money. And I'm like, no, it doesn't mean that when you're 22 years old and you go play in the NFL, that when you're 25 and your knee is done, that you should be rich for life. Get a job, Roger Staubach.
And they're not. They make decent money on that entry
That's
level
right.
contract, unless you're a first-round pick. But anybody else, if you're lucky enough to make the team, you make decent money. If you're on the practice squad, you might make a couple $100,000 over the year.
Greg Garcia asks, who's making the turducken this year? I remember when that was a thing, but I have to admit, I always found it a little bit greasy.
Yeah,
Maybe it was the duck.
They were,
I honestly
and
didn't
I'm
like
not.
it much.
Do you like duck?
I like duck. If you
À l'orange?
well, the way I like duck, I don't like anything that eats off the bottom. I don't want any shovelers, right? But like teal, if you can breast them out and soak them in like a raspberry chipotle and then grill them quickly and eat it medium rare, it's phenomenal. I mean, from the bird to the plate in 10 hours is phenomenal.
Yeah, I'm not a huge
Other than that, it
fan.
needs to be in a gumbo or something because it's just kind of, if you're not careful, it gets mealy. They're scavengers.
So you don't like lobster or shrimp?
I do.
Okay,
I love
so-
it, but I don't like it overcooked.
Well, yeah,
There's nothing worse than a mushy shrimp.
true. Stuart Martin checking in. James Kerr says change the name of the Redskins is kind of like changing the name of Fort Hood. It's all about feelings.
Right. You know, back in the day, lobster was a poor man's food. It was forced upon the slaves. No kidding.
Then the Fish and Wildlife folks got involved and they were overfishing them.
Scarcity became rarity bred, fascination.
Yep.
I'd like to go up. Dawn's not old enough yet to do this. I'd like to fly to the Atlantic Northeast a little earlier than now and rent like a convertible and drive down the coast and just let's go in there and eat lobster. And
How old do you have to be to enjoy the New England fall?
I just don't think Dawn would be like, is there a mall? Is there somewhere we could go and do something? I'm like, we're doing it. Look at these colors. I just don't think it would matter.
John Paul Hull, Mushy Shrimp equals a good band name.
That is a good band name.
You're kind of right because as I gotten older, and maybe because I no longer live there, but I used to take the Rocky Mountains driving from Calgary west into Banff National Park and Yoho National Park for granted.
Oh, it's so
And now when I
beautiful.
go, I'm just like, wow. So, but I think it gets lost when you're younger.
We played baseball. Steve Kinner goes, gee, Dawn is a lot younger than you've let on. When we played baseball this weekend in Shiner, and I went up, there's a dozen ways to get to Shiner from here. You can go to, Cuero, Yoakum, and go in that way. You can go up and hit
Vault
111
90 or
and
whatever
cut
it is,
road.
yeah.
You can go up. Yeah, I went up past 111, took a farm to market road, and wound out onto that old 90. And there's just, you don't get off of 77. There's a reason that they build the roads where they build them. The land's flat. And you get off of 77 about 3 miles west, and there's these beautiful rolling hills. It's just gorgeous. I mean, just picturesque.
Wow, they built the interstates to move troops and
Yeah,
machinery, right?
absolutely. But it's beautiful. You get around Yoakum and Sweet Home. That area is gorgeous.
So just not that it's kind of interesting given what's going on in South America with Peru buddying up with the Chinese.
It would help if we had something interesting.
Yeah, well,
I'm with you. I'm just
Argentina went to the polls starting yesterday.
sure that was fair.
Presidential election, 2 candidates. One is
Totally
basically a libertarian who doesn't believe the government needs to be as involved in the economy as they are.
Right.
The other is basically their current economic minister who, interestingly enough, his monetary policy, and this is straight out of the Wall Street Journal.
You better source it.
I did. But Economy Minister Sergio Massa, whose policies and rampant government spending, according to the Wall Street Journal, have been responsible for the record inflation in Argentina and the levels of poverty as a result, and the weakening Argentino peso. So government spending, excessive government spending can be responsible for inflation in Argentina, but excessive government spending is not the reason for inflation in the United States.
Right.
Just a question I ask because it makes no sense how it can be responsible for inflation in one country but not another.
Different continent.
different agendas.
That's the deal. They spend money. They have big inflation, 14% according to California.
140. No, that's crazy. Yeah, it's
140% inflation. So they have huge inflation. It's based on government spending.
and
We
they've
have
had
things in
inflation
here.
over the years when their socially controlled economy kind of became more free.
Isn't that what happened in Greece not that long ago too? Didn't they go
basically.
crazy?
And actually, the one contestant has said that he wants to adopt the U.S. dollar as the official currency of Argentina. The more libertarian.
I think he's late to the program. Everybody else is trying to get rid of the dollar.
They want the Chinese yuan.
Yeah.
I think he'd be smart.
Concur.
But I just thought that was interesting that the Wall Street Journal can blame inflation in Argentina on government spending, but here it's not. It's according to Joe Biden, it's just because of high prices.
Where's B. Small this morning? I
I
figured
don't
he'd
know.
be
He's
checking
probably
in.
sulking.
Baylor get beat this weekend? They did.
Baylor got destroyed. He didn't win the Cowboys.
Who beat Baylor? Purple Baylor? TCU beat
Maybe.
them,
I think so. I'm not 100% sure.
Did you see what the Aggies did over the weekend? I thought this was really cool. They did something they used to do all the time.
What's that?
They had instead of having a 12th man wear number 12 and be on the kickoff team, they had an entire kickoff team of 12th men.
Oh.
And they went down. It looked like something out of what is that movie with Mel Gibson where he's got the hatchet, and he's, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That one.
William Wallace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how they ran down the field like crazy. Man. It looked like an insurrection. They went down and destroyed. Of course, it was Abilene Christian.
Now let me ask you this:
killed the Christians.
would they have put a whole kickoff team of 12 men on the
Against
field
Georgia?
against Alabama?
No, not a chance. But I applaud them for doing it when they did it. I thought that was. I bet you they don't do it next week against LSU either.
No, not at all. At LSU ain't happening.
Aggies 7-4. I think early in the year, preseason, I think I told you repeatedly they would go 7-5.
I think so. I didn't.
At a
give them that
time
much
they were
credit.
saying 9-3, and some were saying we're going to win them all this year.
They're only 4-3 in the SEC.
Yeah,
The Patriot. Thank you. No
Thank you.
Braveheart.
One of them,
Yeah, Steve
same
Kidder,
movie,
Braveheart.
different era.
B.J. Nelson's
Purple
Baylor.
Baylor's TCU.
Yeah.
That's Purple Baylor.
Let's go look and see if that's who they in fact did lose to. Oh, I got to go back a week.
Yeah,
I just don't keep up with Baylor
we
or TCU.
there you go.
Yeah, they did lose to Purple Baylor.
42-17, Purple Baylor triumphant. Tech
Boy,
got by UCF.
Baylor getting back to their 1980s days. They should just go back to that Kelly green instead of the forest green they wear, and then they would complete that cycle of the end of Grant Taft's
What do you
career.
make of the announcement this week that Washington State will not abandon the Apple Cup, that they will continue to play, even though Washington is leaving to go to the Big Ten?
Iowa and Iowa State do it.
Texas
I don't
and
have a
OU did it forever. when
I don't
they
have.
were in the
I don't
Big
have.
Eight.
I don't have a problem with it. A lot of Cougars are upset. If I understand
Why
correctly,
are they upset? Because they don't want to play them
they don't
anymore?
want to play them anymore. If you play them, it's just like telling them it's okay what they did. If Washington State was in the same position, they would have chased the dollars as well.
Oh, absolutely.
You have to play football at the FBS level.
And maybe nobody wants to play because you historically lose that game 3 out of 4.
Yeah, more or less, worse than that. I think more like 8 out of 10.
Is that so?
It's
There's
pretty
a lot
close
of
to 80%. We have
hate
not
to
won.
see you
Yeah.
leave, but take all those apples with you.
Although what I don't like is I think they've agreed to play at a neutral site.
Where's that?
The stadium that the Seahawks play in Seattle. So 5 hours, 6-hour drive from Pullman and a 15-minute drive from the UW campus. But they call it a neutral site. They should, home and home, that would be the way to keep
That
doing
is
it.
a nice way to do it. What do you make of the Colorado situation? No, BJ asked if I'm hungover. I'm hungover every day, BJ.
Yes,
but
every day.
I'm drinking all this water because it's something Dawn has mandated I do is drink a gallon of water, and I just try to get it out of the way early in the morning.
On this show. the Deion Sanders
Are you
comments
tired of that?
about
But are you tired of Deion? I mean, what are they? They're 4-7.
his act is wearing thin. I think,
Yeah,
a
and I
little bit.
wonder if when he's just like, we're gonna go get we're just go get some more linemen from the portal. I think the dew is kind of off his rose a little bit.
I think what happened is they got off to that 3-0 start against a bunch of nobodies, and they got into the top 25 for no real reason other than it was a feel-good story and to make Deion feel vindicated for leaving Jackson State. But realistically, there was no reason for Colorado to be in the top 25. Sure, they could have been 3-0, but when you're 1-12 a year ago, where else do you have
Right.
to go, right? Up, but up.
BJ Nelson says, hope he doesn't need to take a break. BJ, we talked about this.
Last week.
It depends.
Yeah.
Dawn just asked me, where's Caden? Caden's asleep in the car.
You should hear him squish his way out of here.
Oh, yeah, those little
At the end of the
pellets
day.
swell up. Every now and then the studio smells a little bit of vinegar, but it's other than that.
Ammonia. Yeah.
When you walk out, I get a little chafed.
But Deion got humbled at Washington State this week. I think he thought they were going to go in and beat a team that had been lost 4 in a row. Didn't happen.
James Kerr says that's how the water feature downstairs stays full.
Yep, that's exactly it.
Yeah, they
got clown stomped like 56-14 or something. It wasn't even close.
Washington State really put it to them.
Yeah, they tied it up. Colorado tied it up, and then the ensuing kickoff was returned 98 yards for a touchdown, and that was it.
I saw a deal, and everybody's is speculating. In fact, honestly, the Aggies' speculation of who their next coach will be is much more interesting than their actual program's production.
Or who they'll actually choose.
Right, and they're saying, well, Deion will come to A&M next year, and he'll bring Shador and that big-time
Travis Hunter guy.
big-time receiver and another guy, and you get them for their senior year, and they'll win the SEC and win the national championship with all the pieces that the Aggies have.
Problem is they've already all transferred once.
Is that all they can transfer?
I think so. Without sitting out, you can still transfer, but then you have to sit out. The portal gives you a one-time
I did not know
transfer.
that. There you go.
And I think they all did that when they left Jackson State. Deion is not the answer to what ails Texas A&M Aggie football.
No. Look, McCartney
would he
was
be
a
a-
great coach at Colorado. It was a one-and-done deal. It was a fluke. Colorado's not a contender, never will be.
No, they had Eric Bieniemy, and
Yeah.
they had some pretty good talent.
Yeah, that's it.
But didn't they find out later that a lot of recruiting violations?
Well, it was like an NIL deal. They were all sleeping with the coach's daughter. If you'll remember back in that period, there was a lot going on there. What was that quarterback's name? I want to say Augment.
Cordell Stewart?
No.
I don't remember.
Augmentin? I don't remember. Tracy Augman? Maybe
No,
so.
I think you're thinking Stacey Ogman, the basketball player.
I don't know.
But anyway,
I do not know that.
it was a fluke.
At any rate, I think the I think the Aggies are gonna surprise some people. I think there's a real chance that you're gonna hear an announcement that they've gathered up Dabo Swinney. I think there's a chance.
Yeah, you know what really ticked off Cougars fans this weekend was when Deion Sanders made some crack about black people who have never been to Pullman, Washington.
Oh, he just exposed his ignorance there.
Yeah, I mean he was making a joke, and then they blamed it on him having the flu or something, and he was sweating profusely, and like that was an excuse. But
White guy can't make that joke.
no. But what he didn't realize is Washington State, as enrollment percentages,
higher
and
blacks.
actually higher numbers of African Americans at Washington State on a smaller enrollment campus, and in the football program, more African Americans at Washington State than Colorado, and that was pointed out on numerous Cougar chat threads over the weekend.
Those are black people, for those of you that don't fall into the African American, Italian American, Canadian American garbage. So
I just exposed Deion's
Deion was ignorant.
woeful ignorance.
But I think he was just cutting up. I think if you were around Deion, you'd be engaged. I think he'd be a very interesting guy.
I do too.
I think he's a smart man.
Well,
he's certainly a marketing genius.
Well, what's interesting is He's picked up the mantle or the torch from Mike Leach. His press conferences are ones that people want to watch. His interviews are ones that people want to watch.
And it's calculated.
There hasn't been a coach. People wanted to hear what Nick Saban had to say, and then they realized Nick Saban really just spoke in coach speech.
And he says the same thing
Right?
every time.
Yeah. You never knew what Mike Leach was going to say when you asked him a question. It could go in a billion
Right.
different directions, and all of them were interesting. All of them made sense, and it showed you how smart he was.
But
Deion Sanders is a very smart guy. He is a good coach. He's probably a better motivator than he is
That's
a
right.
coach.
He's a preacher. He's an old black preacher.
But his interviews are entertaining at the least. At the least, they're entertaining, but they're usually pretty good interviews.
Yeah. I agree with Alex Alvarez. Having rappers and influencers in the locker room constantly can be a huge distraction for his players.
Yeah, but it's no different than programs that let a lot of friends of players
I'm
hang
so
around
tired
either.
of Matt McConaughey hanging around.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. That's
BJ Nelson says, we were in Alabama last week. They love their football.
yeah.
They closed down the state over there to
Yeah,
get ready
pretty
for
much.
Alabama football.
Well, because they don't like Auburn football right now.
Right.
Terrible.
Folks, Palace Bingo, where friends meet friends. We got a couple of weeks till we do it again. But
Yeah, it
you
won't
need
be
to
the third
there.
Thursday because that'll be basically right before Christmas. So maybe the 14th?
There's somewhere in there.
Second Thursday?
Somewhere in yonder.
We'll get it done.
We'll get her done. We'll let you know.
We'll announce it after Thanksgiving.
Atzenhofer is a South Texas tradition since 1926. Get by Atzenhofer for a new Chevy, Mazda, Mitsubishi, a gently pre-owned vehicle. They service all makes and models, windshields, brakes, wipers, tires, inspections, $7. Get by Atzenhofer. They are Victoria's dealership. It's the only place in town, I guarantee, where you've got a chance to drive up and ask for something to be done to your vehicle, and they might go, yeah, we can do that.
Yep.
We can do that right now.
Yeah, they don't.
Nobody
make it-
else.
No.
Nobody else in town.
Well,
even
we can
close
get to it
that.
2 Tuesdays from now.
Yep. Armor Air 579-0966. Great
Anything from
family-run business.
Anything from a condenser to a compressor to a coil, they can do it all.
They can do it all. And then the chopping block for all your meat needs. It's still time. Get by and get a turkey. You might find a ham.
Link a boudin.
Steaks. Oh, the other day I was in there and they had what they called semi-boneless. They had taken the wings and drummies still had it, but the quail was deboned and they were stuffing it with boudin. They said put it on your pellet grill for about 30 minutes on
Sounds so
300.
good.
That would be phenomenal.
Yeah, and don't forget the Gray Barn Mercantile right there in the Town and Country Center. Unique Christmas ornaments for your tree.
Yep.
They had a Christmas beetle there that was all like bejeweled, and it's sold out like that. So, pretty cool stuff. But if you're looking for something that won't be on everybody else's tree, it's not the Hallmark store. Get on by Gray Barn Mercantile, Town and Country Center Airline, and Laurent.
Because nothing says Christmas like a bedazzled
It
beetle.
looks cool, man. Not going to lie.
There you go.
Lisa Poole says, what about moving bingo to a Tuesday night for December?
You know, Lisa, we'll get back to you on that, okay?
Are you our cruise director?
That was
Now on the Lido
Lauren
deck.
Twos.
Yeah. Julie
for
McCann,
Doc.
right? Now on the Lido deck, bingo.
Bingo. Lisa's intense.
Well, she does win.
She does win. She's a player. You can't win if you don't play.
BJ says yes to the 19th of December.
The 19th
That's to be a
works
Tuesday. That could work, you
when
know.
there might not be a school meeting. BJ wants to come, but she's serving as a school board
and all
member.
that, and she's always out of town when we play.
Yeah, between McQueenie and Lake Tahoe, she's a busy lady.
She is. What else? Former U.S. First Lady Rosalind Carter passed away over the weekend. 96 years old. I believe the longest married first couple ever.
77 years of marriage.
Really was one that I guess started the championing of human rights, or not human rights, mental health rights and issues. Betty Ford, obviously, abuse and addiction issues. But Rosalind Carter. But I don't know. Has anybody's legacy improved over time than Jimmy Carter's? Well, the media has helped, but Up until Joe Biden, probably the worst president of my lifetime.
No doubt. Terrible, terrible president.
Gerald Ford a close second. But now it's Joe Biden, Jimmy Carter, Gerald Ford.
Yeah, no doubt. Where does Obama fall in there?
Fourth worst.
Yeah, I agree. Of my lifetime. I think that's the order I would use too. Biden. Yeah.
Biden, Carter, Ford, Obama,
Fair.
George H. Bush, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush.
I miss Bill Clinton. I'd take Bill Clinton tomorrow over Joe Biden.
Nixon, and then Reagan.
Looking back, I mean, at least Clinton's sexploits were interesting.
Yeah, maybe Clinton wasn't that bad. But I don't know.
Pretty good on the budget.
44 and 46 illegitimate.
Yeah. Hi.
I think Obama might even go up a notch or two, to be honest. It might be Carter, Obama, Ford.
There you go.
Biden's still the worst. No question about it. But his rampant spending isn't responsible for inflation. That's only in other countries.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I don't either. First term Nixon or second term Nixon? You know, Nixon was played. The CIA was involved in all of that stuff. No, I haven't seen the released January 6 tapes. We talked about that. We might get to that over between football games and turkey comatose. That might be the perfect time for it.
You know,
tryptophan almost snoozing on the nap, but
Nixon,
doesn't really matter.
He was like Captain Queegish. He was such a paranoid individual. Everybody was out to get him. He kept a list of his enemies, both real and perceived.
Oh, you think they all don't? Obama went after his enemies. He just used the IRS.
True story. But Nixon. I remember being at Texas, a notoriously liberal university, and they were saying, hey, by the time you're old, which like now, Richard Nixon will be viewed as twice the president that John F. Kennedy was when it comes to actually getting things done. And I think I'm there. I mean, John Kennedy talked a big game, but in general, he was just using the White House as Playboy Mansion East. And at the end of the day, he didn't really get anything done.
Well, he took a stand against Cuba during the Cuban Missile Crisis, but he did not. He waffled a lot in Vietnam.
He did.
Probably got killed because he actually wasn't going to go into Vietnam.
That's right.
And the military-industrial complex couldn't have that happen.
You are right.
Yeah.
Much like, we look back now, we have the Lincoln Memorial. We look back at Abraham Lincoln. He's loved. He's revered. He's a gold standard. He's on a coin. Half the country didn't want him out of office. Half the country wanted him dead in the 1860s. Half the country wanted Abe Lincoln dead. John F. Kennedy lived in a similar world. He really did.
And Robert Kennedy, same thing. He was going after the Justice Department and the FBI, and they couldn't have that, so they manufactured and drugged up a Sirhan, and
you wonder if
killed.
How
does somebody get that close to the Attorney General in the...
was he dressed as a waiter?
I think some sort of staffman or something.
Do you know, though, that I tell you what, I've told you guys this
hotel.
before. There's a book. You have to look it up. It's called Chaos. And it ties in, same era, same period, ties into Charles Manson and the experimentation the CIA did with LSD. And there are intelligent people that believe that Sirhan was like the Manchurian Candidate. Where they triggered him. I can remember being in that era, 68, 69, right there, when he was adamant, I don't remember shooting the man. I don't remember shooting him. I believe him now. I believe they had him either hypnotized and or drugged, and he did what he was told to do and really has no recollection of doing it. Well, by all accounts, he was not a political person. He was a nice guy. He was, I believe, programmed. I don't know by whom.
Think about it.
By the government? It had to be the government.
Had to be
Honestly,
the government.
it was.
CIA for sure.
Killed him. Killed Bobby.
But it was sort of the start of Arabs and Muslims being the enemy of this country.
Yeah. I just remember it being a big deal that he would say, I don't, they would say, why did you do this? I don't know. I don't recall doing it.
Yeah.
Scared to death, been in jail forever. I think he's still in jail. Or did he die?
I think he died. I don't know. Have to look it up, but I don't need to be fact checked on it. But how many times though? I mean, we hear the stories in the 50s and 60s of the government doing the same thing with our military folks.
Absolutely.
They tested drugs on them.
They did it with lots of our black
Yes.
military folks.
LSD was one of those drugs of choice that they used to test. Amphetamines and speed.
Did that in Vietnam. They wanted to create a fighting man that never got tired, that never had any emotion.
Called them vitamins.
Yeah.
Just take these vitamins. 22 hours out of a 24-hour day, you're amped up, ready to fight and kill.
You're all hopped up.
Yeah.
Speaking of hopped up, get my Paravita Wellness.
Eat clean and you will eat healthy and you will feel better. Trust me.
Yeah, the food's phenomenal.
I'm looking forward to Thanksgiving. My plate is either going to be, if I fill it like I normally do because of now how I've learned the portions of eating, I'm going to have 3 meals worth on my plate.
Yeah.
So I'm either going to have portion control, eat myself stupid, or just reheat my plate 2 or 3 times after Thanksgiving because
you're exactly right. The other night when we had our Friendsgiving deal and the food was so good but I really did just get a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but I had a little bit of about 8 things. I mean, I didn't have like a mound of mashed potatoes like I used to do. And I'm not exaggerating when I tell you I felt terrible until about noon on the next day.
Absolutely. So get the
Terrible.
Paravita Wellness. They'll even do some meals for you on Thanksgiving if you don't want to gorge yourself on turkey.
Absolutely.
You can do something
White
else
Trash Services, 550-1826. Whether you need weekly trash pickup in Victoria County or the 6 contiguous or Lake Tahoe, Lake McQueeney, Las Vegas,
Reno.
outskirts of Detroit, they can
Sacramento.
do it all. 550-1826. Or you need a dumpster, roll-off, demolition services.
They'll do all
They
that for you
do
as well.
all of that. USA Concrete Coating, they'll come out. Charlie Garcia and his team will come out and put down a tough as nails polyurea coating.
Won't stick, peel, fade, or crack.
There you have it, straight from ash.
And you don't have to do it.
That's right, and oh yeah, you don't want to do that
Epoxy.
garbage. It epoxies itself to your tires.
Yep.
Reach out to Wentz Services for all your generator needs. I'm talking turnkey. At the end of the day,
Not turkey, turnkey.
You may say, well, I'm going to pay a little more and get a turnkey job from Went, but it's not really paying more because it's all in one place. It's all done right now. What are you looking for? We're on to.
Okay.
Where do you want to go?
Your camera.
My camera? Are you leaving me?
I have to for a second. Too much coffee.
There you go. So one thing about, and by the way, BJ Nelson says City of Palacios is going to start getting service in April. There you have it. So Peter McNally, thank you, sir. Says Sirhan was born in 1944 and is still alive. Peter, do you recall when you look back? Do you recall Sirhan saying, "I have no recollection of doing that"? And the media was like, "That's such an absurd defense. I can't believe this guy's claiming he doesn't know that he shot Bobby Kennedy." I think there really is a chance. I think there was a chance that the guy was drugged, hypnotized, a part of a program where you folks have probably seen the movie The Manchurian Candidate, where they programmed a guy to kill a candidate. I think it's quite plausible. Yeah, James Kerr, Ash is the one who needs to take a break. He snuck over to. We have a nice restroom here in the green room at Magic 95.9. By the way, Magic 95.9, Victoria's Tejano leader, tomorrow evening, Tuesday night, the 21st, is that right? Yes. 6 o'clock, Victoria Community Center. They will be passing out, we will be passing out turkeys and the sides to families that need it. Come by, drive through the portico will be set up there starting at 6 o'clock. You can come by and get your turkey fixings. So just one of the many things Magic does to give back here in the community. They do it fairly unsung, but we're excited that to be a part of it. So you can come by. Peter McNally says he doesn't remember Sirhan saying that, but it's been a long time. But I do remember that as a kid that it was like, that's his defense. He doesn't remember doing it because I was, trying that at home. It just didn't work for me. Hope you guys have a great week. I think Ash is out there visiting with people, just thinking I can just carry the load, which of course I can. What are we going to do here? We've got, we know now that AJ Louderback and Jeff Balknight both seeking, hello, Brother Man, both seeking the state rep, District 30 state rep role. We don't know who else yet. There's a gentleman from Lavaca County that is a former rep. Faircloth, I think is his name. I think he is going to put his name in the hat. He's a commissioner up there, not known in Victoria County. I think that the folks that we know here, AJ and Balknight, will be the leaders for that position, would be my gut feeling. I wouldn't be surprised to see every county in the district have a competitor, but, Matagorda County, who do we know out there? We don't. And this county drives a lot of the voting. I am still curious and haven't heard anything yet about who may run for mayor. You will hear that'll start to steamroll pretty quick because I think it's Tuesday night, maybe it's tonight. One of the nights this week, city council meets, and that's when everything will be official, that Balknight will step down. And as he steps down, then you'll have the opportunity for folks to file for mayor, which I think they had to have that done, Ash, by December the 8th, 3rd, 8th. So I don't know who. Have you heard any names for?
I have not, no.
So I don't know who's going to run for mayor. I think as voters, you have to be cognizant of who you put in that role because the streets need to be fixed in 25, and it's not something that we know, oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
He's nice or she's nice, and let's give them, that'll be fun. Let them finish out Jeff's term. It ain't about being fun. I'm still hopeful that one of the council members steps up. I have heard the name of Jan Scott, Josephine Solis, Dwayne Crocker, even Andrew Young. Of course, Dr. Young is a surgeon and works, and very difficult. Dwayne also. So, they all work. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. Jan Scott's a fine attorney. But I'm not sure some of these folks feel they have the time. It's going to be very time-consuming to be mayor over the next 18 months. So we'll see what happens, but think about that. Be cognizant that who runs for mayor does matter.
Yeah, no, it absolutely does. Even though you're only one vote, you're the face of the city, and
no doubt
you tend to sway opinion and maybe votes as well. So
I'd love to see somebody, and I always wonder what might have been. I still wish we had someone that was very, very pro-business. There were a lot of hurdles in place by the city. As the years have gone on, things have been put in place, sign ordinances and other garbage that they were put in for various reasons.
Usually to protect special interests with deep pockets and loud voices.
No doubt. People that owned billboard companies made a big deal about signs, and the next thing you know, you had to have certain kinds of signs, and the billboard companies reaped the benefits. But
and people that lived in historic districts.
That's right.
Wanted their sight lines preserved.
Absolutely.
Like
so you look at it, and you need somebody that can go in and remove those things, who's shameless, who is not afraid to be ridiculed, and that's when I look at what might have been. That was me.
I'll tell you what.
I was willing to do it.
I'd rather have pop-up signs on our boulevards than the homeless or pretend homeless folks begging for change. there's a bigger blight on this city
Yeah.
than signs promoting your small business on the boulevards. I mean, we've passed up a lot of opportunities to really improve this city.
Love my friends James Kurth and Stuart Martin. I think they teamed up on this one. James Kurth says Brent Carter is at the top of the list, and Stuart Martin comes underneath of people not to vote for. I concur.
Well, you can't vote for him because he ain't going to run.
No, I'm not running.
No.
They had their chance at me. They had their chance at the fun we could have had. Make no doubt. Have no doubts. It would have been fun. But it's
I'm going to usurp the hockey
over.
half minute real quick with the Grey Cup recap. Excellent Grey Cup game for fans of three-down football. Montreal scored the game-winning touchdown with 11 seconds left to beat the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Today we're going to let that hockey update or that Grey Cup update be brought to you by the fine folks at First State Bank of Louise. Hats off to Patricia Nagel for staying with us all the way to the end of the minute to hear about the First State Bank of Louise. Go by today
and the Grey
see
Cup.
Lolly and the Grey Cup.
Because it was a phenomenal game. Winnipeg with a defensive stand at the end of the half.
That's the Jets, Jets.
No, the
Jets,
Blue
Jets,
Bombers,
Jets.
close though.
Oh.
But first and goal from the one, and they stuffed them 3 times. And went into the half with a lead, but they couldn't hold it. Montreal wins it 28-24. Great game. And one of the better halftime shows I've ever seen. Green Day was the halftime show. The game was played outdoors in Hamilton at Tim Hortons Field. If the NFL could take a cue from the CFL, just hire whoever the CFL hires for their halftime shows. There hasn't been a bad one in the last few years, and Green Day just rocked it. They played all the songs they knew. They kept it upbeat, and they didn't lip sync.
It had a nice beat. It was fun to dance with. I give it an 8. James Kerr says you can't blame all that on a mayor. It's the entire council that makes that decision, or at least the majority. No, but what you can do...
Well, but who do they hire?
Right.
The city managers and the attorneys who craft the policy and direction of the city, and a lot of that is led by the mayor.
And what you can do is be a voice that raises a lot of cane and makes people think, and you can be the initiator of grassroots movements that make things happen.
You know, we talk about the freedom of ideas and the marketplace of ideas that used to exist on college campuses. It doesn't exist in our halls of government anymore either. No. It's either used this way or they work to vote you out.
Absolutely. By the way, Jeff Bachneit's done a great job. He's done a great job. You know, Raleigh McCoy had great plans cut short by his passing, and we miss Raleigh. He was a great, great friend, a great guy. But yeah, I think Victoria has an opportunity now to tab someone to run and make a difference. It's good. Folks, we're going to get out of here today. We're going to wish you a great week. We will be here tomorrow and Wednesday.
Yep. I didn't get to the Thanksgiving stuff I was going to talk about, but we'll save that for tomorrow.
Were you going to read a poem?
No, not
a poem.
A poem.
Folks, have a great one.
Bye, folks.
Mañana.